cover all three MAC games for you. And, well, as we're here Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern time with the Pig Dogs Capital. Let's take a look at the green room, see who's joining us today. We've got Joe D'Amico, who serves as my co-host. Rod Zawacki will join us as well. We got Joe Duffy in the center square. He'll be offering us some good advice when we get on a segment. Chris Ruffalo also will serve as co-host. Alan Enos is here. Ron Romanelli, seen him top the leaderboards. How you doing, Ron? We'll get to Ron in a little bit. Let's go ahead and welcome my co-host for today. We've got our buddy Joe D'Amico and Chris Ruffalo. We'll start with you, Chris. I know you're keeping an eye on that NBA draft. We saw a trade right now. Pretty steep price for Danny Green going over to OKC.
On OKC, I don't think they're done making moves. I think they just acquired Al Horford as well. It looks like it was. And of course, me being an idiot, I tried to check my phone and I end up hitting the home button. But the Sixers trading Horford first and second round picks for Danny Green. Oh, sorry, and Terrence Ferguson. That was the trade you were talking about. Again, I'm an idiot. I read the headline. I don't necessarily read the subcontext. But you know what? That just goes to show you it is a steep price for a 3-point shooter, and I don't know really what the 76ers are trying to accomplish here. Maybe they're going to be targeting a big man in the draft, and again, I think this trade benefits the Thunder more than it does Philadelphia. You're giving another piece to a young Oklahoma City team that's going to need veteran leadership, but especially after trading away Chris Paul. And again, I think that it kind of sets the tone for what each team is really going to be looking for in the draft tonight.
Yeah, Doc Rivers trying to get that puzzle fixed over there in Philadelphia. You know, Joe D'Amico, we see a coaching move here with Doc Rivers going over to Philadelphia. Kind of a team that really struggled on the road, right? You see those home road splits. They really couldn't get it going. Your thoughts here on this Sixers team as they're trying to make some moves here before the draft?
Well, they certainly have some talent on the team, and I just, don't understand all the moves they're making, but obviously they're not done yet. I think they are they had potential a few years ago, and they actually fell by the wayside a little bit, I would say. But there's some talent on the team. They got to build around it. I think you're going to see a lot more moves, not just trades between players, but you may even see another coach or two, being acquired here or there. I think that the NBA is far from done from seeing new faces and new places, gentlemen. And I think it's going to be a better league for it. I think this past year, I think that was a tough year. I don't want to say it was a transition year, but I think overall the NBA had a little rid of rust spot, being the second sport to come back during the coronavirus pandemic. I think the league handled a lot of things pretty well. I think they needed to work on some things, but I think you're going to see them improved this upcoming NBA season. And hopefully we have NBA Christmas and New Year, so to speak.
No question about that. All right, here on the drive through, guys, we'll have a lot of picks coming. We'll get those MAC games for you and more. We got some betting tips coming in. Let's go ahead and welcome to the show Joe Duffy. You'll find him over at Pig Dogs Premium. Joe, how you doing? Are you keeping tabs on the moves here in the NBA? As you look up and you look at the calendar, and training camp's going to begin December 1st. We got the draft, preseason games coming up here pretty shortly, and before you know it, we're a little more than 4 weeks away from the start of the season.
Yeah, it is interesting what the Sixers are doing. They need an outside shooter. Even when they had J.J. Redick a couple of years ago, they still lacked some outside shooting. And then when they lost Redick, I think it was to free agency, I believe, then they really have no outside shooter. So, Danny Green, I don't think is necessarily going to fill that void, but I think Horford is addition by subtraction. I still hear some rumors that, maybe they're in the James Harden sweepstakes. I guess, Brooklyn is considered to be the place where he's most likely to go, but James Harden would fill that void if they can somehow get him, but they're not going to get him cheaply. And, are the Sixers going to break up their so-called Big Two? I think a lot of people do believe that it is going to happen, and they would have to get James Harden, I would think.
Yeah, they would have to do so. Very interesting here following this drama from the NBA draft. All right, Joe, you're going to offer some betting tips here. Lead indicators versus lag indicators. Give them some examples here. Picking the team that wins outright, likely to be the spread winner. Why don't you get us up to date here on these analogies?
Yeah, it is, Tony. It's one of those. First of all, I want to apologize to every teacher I ever had when I used to say things like, how am I going to use this stuff in real life outside of the classroom? One of the examples is algebra. I thought I would never use algebra. Now I use it every day. One of the computer programs uses SQL language, which is algebraic in nature. And another one was, in college, I remember taking this philosophy class, this monotone professor, nothing like a monotone professor teaching philosophy at 9 a.m. But one of the things we learned in there truly is the difference between inductive and deductive reasoning and how to use syllogisms. It's kind of overlaps with the lead indicators and lag indicators. I've heard 1 billion times people say from Chad Millman when he first went to ESPN, they were kind of the first to do a gambling thing. He used to say it, and then there's a guy who does a bunch of videos, has a muskrat on his head. They will regurgitate statistics like, all you have to do is pick the team that wins outright in the NFL. Don't worry about the point spread. Just worry about which team is going to win, and you're going to have the spread winner. But that is a perfect example of the difference between a lag indicator and a lead indicator, or inductive and deductive reasoning. For yes, it is definitely true. The team that does win outright in the NFL covers 83.1% of the time. But here's the fine print. The average line is only 2.6. So every single time a favorite covers, they have to win outright. A favorite cannot cover without winning outright. And every time that an underdog wins outright, of course, they're going to cover. So it is, again, using inductive reasoning rather than deductive reasoning. In the NFL, home field advantage in a normal year, of course, this isn't a normal year, but in a normal year, NFL home field advantage is worth about 3 points. So let's say that you have two evenly matched teams. The home team's probably going to be favored by 3. The only way one team can win outright and the other team cover is if the favorite wins by 1 or 2 points. So what you're going to have is people are going to think that this statistic means something, that it's a lead indicator, and it's not, and they're just going to blindly bet favorites. But just to give you an example, NFL favorites in the history of my database with thousands and thousands of games, favorites are the team that's more likely to win outright. They're only hitting it 49.1% of the time. And if you want to get it to the ridiculous teams that are all but guaranteed to win outright, favorites of 20 or more in the NFL are 13-0 straight up, but they're only 4-9 ATS. And if you really want to get ridiculous in college football, yeah, favorites of 37 or more, they are 830-2. 830 wins, 2 losses all time straight up, but only cover 49.3% of the time. So when you hear somebody say this, and I've heard it regurgitated so many times, just pick the team that wins outright and you're going to have the spread winner. That's a perfect example of not knowing the difference between a lead indicator and a lag indicator. And of course, a lag indicator tells you performance to date, such as a team's record. A lead indicator is what they're going to do the next game, predicting the next game. And when people say that, I just bang my head against the wall. It's just a terrible example of not knowing the difference between inductive and deductive reasoning or lead and lag indicators, and that's so important in sports handicapping.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Of course, Chris, I know there's a lot of talk here looking at playing at money lines with these underdogs, and how's your approach?
Well, my first thought was, well, I wonder how many of those 830-2 games with the 37-point favorites had the Kansas Jayhawks in there, because I can tell you that's probably an 830-2 win percentage just against Kansas alone. But you know what? I think there's definitely a little bit of there's definitely value in these indicators that Joe's talking about, and I think that part of it is the human element that, you do have to figure, well, like I'm just trying to think off the top of my head of some underdogs we've had earlier this season. TCU, Texas. TCU went into that game as a 9.5-point underdog, and it's just the fact that they've had Texas's number at home. Sometimes, a team just has your number, and that's something that I look for is if one team just has a historical edge. But again, like Joe was saying, if you find that if home field is normally worth 3 points in a normal year, and you think a team's going to win at home, the odds of them winning by 1 or 2 points, there's a reason that window is so small, because chances are if a home team's going to win, they're probably going to win by 3 points to at least a touchdown, if not more. So that's kind of where my head is on it. But a lot of the times for me, it's going to sound cliche and it's going to sound very vague, but moneyline underdogs for me sometimes are just a gut feeling. It's if you just see something that just doesn't feel right, maybe there's a little bit there, and that's when you start to do a little bit of digging and see if you can find a bit of an edge.
Yeah, and I'll get back to you there with Joe. When do you like to I'll go bring Joe Duffy? When's a time to bang on that underdog on the money line? Is there certain situations you look for?
Yeah, there used to be in the NFL one of the great systems. I think it was betting against home teams that were off of win as road underdogs. Used to be great to bet against on the money line. I haven't really done too many money line picks in the NFL in recent years. That one statistic is still, it's okay. It's also very good against the spread. I used to do a lot more money line picks in the traditional ATS sports. I still have a couple pretty good ones in the NBA, but all in all, I do think that there are maybe some situations where they're big letdowns. I know that a lot of people don't like to bet just either +2 or -2 points. They'd rather bet it on the money line. But for the most part, in the traditional ATS sports, such as basketball and football, I either stick to the spread or, of course, the total.
All right, Joe, I'll throw something else at you here. Looking at better turnover teams. Turnover is a big key stat in the NFL. And, of course, an old school one, give me the team that can run the football and stop the run.
Yeah, that's another one where, again, I've seen the inductive reasoning. I've seen people where they put accurate statistics. They'll something like, these are the top 5 rushing teams in the NFL. And notice, all 5 of them have winning spread records. And, of course, the conclusion is bet on the better rushing team. But, again, that's inductive reasoning because, as I said, it is true that the team that wins outright generally covers. Well, the team that's leading is usually running the ball. So that's why the teams that have more rushing yards are usually the team that covers. And in fact, the better rushing teams, I did look this up. If you use it as a lead indicator, the better rushing team entering the game in the NFL is actually a decent play, 52%. But it's just the opposite when it comes to turnovers. You can't say to the bookmaker, hey, Mr. Bookie, I want to bet $1,000 on whichever team has a +2 or better turnover ratio to cover. I don't know any bookie that's going to take that bet. But yet again, I'll see people write articles or do videos say, go with the better turnover team because these are the teams with the best turnover ratio in the NFL. And look, they have positive spread records. These are the teams with the worst turnover ratio in the NFL. And not surprisingly, they have terrible spread records. But if you use that lag indicator as a lead indicator, college football teams with a turnover net of +2 or better than their opponent only cover 48.1% of the time, including just 46.6 as a favorite. So my main message here is be very careful how you use these statistics. Yes, I said it. In college football, the team that enters the game with a much worse turnover margin is actually the one that is least likely to cover. And I have a couple stats in the NFL along those lines, but not so much as prevalent as college football. But yeah, usually the team with the worst turnover ratio entering the game, using it as a lead indicator, is actually the worst bet.
You know, one thing I'll throw in on this segment, Joe Duffy, is sample size. I hear a lot of people say, well, this year this is happening. You know, every year there's always something happening. There's always this one stat or this one angle that is skewed, in one direction or the other. I know when you come in with your data, there's always a large sample size. And I want you to touch base a little bit on sample size here.
Yeah, the first program I used was a program called Point Spreads Analyzer, and it would calculate the Z-score for you. The program I use now, it does calculate, the poly, whatever the name, whatever the score is, it does do that. And yes, I believe big in sample size. Now, of course, this year, there are some unique things going on, so you have to realize that home field advantage doesn't mean, of course, as much this year. But hopefully, I'll be handicapping for another 35 years and we'll never have such an outlier like this. But you are correct, Tony T. Sample size is enormously important for me. I'm not really all that impressed by a stat that's 13-2 the last 3 years when I look in my database and find out that it's hitting only 48% over the last 20 years. Sample size is enormously important. Now, statistical significance is a term that statisticians will use. And yeah, I definitely want a big sample size and a high percentage. Absolutely.
All right, Joe, here's one that we hear a lot from you, and that is that home-road dichotomy. Why don't you fill us in on that?
Yeah, and again, this is another one I hear it, and some people will call it Jekyll and Hyde. But just an example, NFL home team, you're right, Tony T. I've talked about it quite often. I call it the anti-splits. But NFL home teams with a winning percentage of 650 or more, better than the road team's road percentage, is actually a go against. You're better off going with the bad road team against the good home team that's 476, 388, and 18. So again, don't outsmart yourself. Too many people think that you got this team that's tremendous at home, this team that's horrible on the road. Of course, you go with the home team, but you can't bet these stats retroactively. So again, people are using these lag indicators as lead indicators, and you'll find out almost always when you use a lag indicator as a lead indicator, it's usually a fade.
Usually a fade. All right, bring up to Joe D'Amico. You're out there in the sports book. Some of these situations of these home road dichotomies. You hear it a lot in the sports book where teams say, this is the bad road team. They're great at home, but sometimes they can trap themselves looking at that.
Well, I'll tell you what, you walk into the sports book, you're going to hear 1,000 different points of view, and 999 people that walk into the sports book are losers. Thank God for that. Otherwise, guys like us would be out of a job. Joe Duffy brings up a lot of good points. I mean, you're going to hear a huge array of things in the sports book. Some things are the most asinine things you've ever heard, but thank goodness for those people because, hey, stupid people make the world go round. I'm not here to be anybody, not here to be a politician, but if it wasn't for stupid people. Listen, if stupidity was a crime, most of the world would be on death row. I think we would all agree to that. And I thank God that a lot of people that work in the sports books aren't the brightest. Otherwise, everybody would own the sports book, and we'd be working for those people. Fact of the matter is there are a lot of good angles out there, but I think that there are certain people, there's certain disciplines also. I think Joe would agree. Certain people sometimes go against those points of view. Even if they're winning, they then, I think this, I think that they overthink things. If you got a good winning point of view or something that's hitting 55, 58, 60% of the time, stick with it, guys. It makes sense. You're certainly going to make money with it. It's the people that always think they got the best winner on the board, the sure shot, that they got the best 18 parlay, which that's a whole other story. I agree with Joe on a lot of points, but the discipline, I think, with sports betting particularly, I don't think you see a lot of people in general, particularly these days, stick to one type of an angle. And that's why somebody like Joe has been so successful all these years. He sticks to his angles. I mean, I can look at a game personally and have a feeling about a game, and I can be wrong about a game. Thank God I'm not wrong as many times as I'm right. But there are people out there that they overthink it, and they sometimes go, well, you know what? This team, that team, the other team. If you stick to an angle that's anything that's making you money on a regular basis, stick with it. But that's a discipline in sports gambling. I think you all agree. We've all been there. We've all done it ourselves, where I'm winning with a certain thing and I can't win. Cross it off and I'm wrong. I think that is the discipline that goes with sports betting. But that's why Joe Duffy has been so successful for so many years. He's a disciplined guy, and he sticks to his angles.
He certainly does. All right, Joe, give you the last word here on your lead indicators versus lag.
Well, it's funny when Joe was talking, it reminded me of a story of a guy that I used to work with on the score phones, and he used to work the counters in Vegas, a guy by the name of Bill O'Malley, and he said that his number one tool for handicapping was just like Joey D was saying, that somebody would come up and say, I cannot believe this line. You guys are giving money away. It's the dumbest line I've ever seen. And then the guy will bet $10 on the game. And Bill would say he would go to another casino, because I guess you still can't, but certainly back then you can't bet in a casino where you work. So he said, I would just walk down the strip and then bet $100 on the opposite, because every time some big mouth came in and said that you were just giving money away and they bet, $10, $20 on a game, he said it was, his own contrarian handicapping, so to speak. So, yeah, what Joey D said, I've heard that story before.
All right, Joe Duffy here joining us on the drive-thru. All right, Joe, as we approach the bottom of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you got going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, we do have a winner up for tonight. In fact, release my plays a little earlier this week. I know in the NFL I release more totals than sides. This week I do have, I think it's 3 sides up, including 2 of my highest rated Wise Guy plays. Already got some winners up for Thursday, including the college football total of the year. I got NFL as well, so 3 Thursday winners, got Friday winners. Saturday and Sunday, they're all up on the site right now, a little earlier than usual. We want to beat those line moves.
All right, guys, check out Joe Duffy over at Pig Dogs Premium right now. You see him on the plus side, approaching 300 units college football documented. Why not pick up one of his long-term packages, 30-day all-sports pass kit, all of Joe's plays. That would be from college football, NFL from Joe Duffy. College basketball is in play about a week away, so get on board with Joe Duffy. He'll get you to the pay window. All right, Joe Duffy, is always great having your show. Have yourself a great night, and we will talk with you in a couple days.
We shall, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Joe Duffy here on the drive-thru. A lot of advice there from Joe. Decades in this industry, Joe. Just when you were in diapers, he was selling it. He was out there.
Oh, absolutely. I love that, Joe Duffy. And by the way, when I was in diapers, he used to change me. People don't know that. He used to clean my diapers when I was a kid. That's why I'm so good at what I do. He used to tell me bedtime stories of bad beats and good beats and winning days. And that's how I grew up in this business. He used to change my diapers, but I thank God for him because I really did it. When I grew up in this business, when I grew up and was starting to make a name in this business, Joe Duffy was certainly one of the people that I looked up to and I respected and admired, and got to speak to him over the years quite a few times. As nice as he is successful, and then getting to work with him these days on the Pick Dog Show, it's just a pleasure for me, Tony.
All right, guys. This is Drive-Thru, guys. We're at the top of the hour. We're Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to cover here this Western Michigan, Central Michigan game. We gave it out yesterday. We're just going to rehash it here because this game is going to start top of the hour. I gave it out here at Central Michigan. Now it's moved back to Central Michigan -1. Again, Jim McElwain has turned around this program. The defense is strong. I'm going that route. I know, Chris, you like that side as well.
Yeah, I've been waffling back and forth on. I think that's where my initial lean was Central Michigan. I'm also looking at the total. I mean, this still seems like a high total. I know I think Mitch was the only one on the other side this morning, and for good reason. But you know what? I think that you have a hard, a rivalry game. These two teams don't like each other, to say the least. I think this is one of the premier rivalries in the MAC. I think you're going to see a hard-hitting game, I think, between two teams that, like to run the football, but I think this one stays under the number. But I also give my lean to Central Michigan just because I think they played the better defense here. Yeah,
that was a better defense, the coaching there from McElwain, taking a one-win team to an 8-team win team last year in the bowl. So I'm on that one at Central Michigan. All right, continue here on the Drive-Thru. It's time for Joe D'Amico with his show pick. He's having a good college football season. I know, Joe, you're looking at some Big Ten action as Purdue is visiting Minnesota. Purdue laying 3. Total sits here about 63 right now.
Well, Tony, I want our sports fans to know I let them down on Friday. I had a rare free game loser here on the show. Sorry, guys. My records are paltry 30-11 now. 74% ain't too bad, but I'll redeem myself tonight. I want to talk about Purdue, Minnesota. To be quite honest, sports fans, neither of these teams are going to be polishing a national championship trophy anytime soon. They're a combined 3-4 in the season. However, they have played a total of 2 overs and 5 unders this season. I do feel they match up well with one another here. Purdue has a pass-oriented offense. They really live and die in the air. But Minnesota, guys, they counter with the nation's 37th ranked defense against the pass. The Minnesota problem this season is their problem is defending the rush. And the Boilermakers sports fans, they have no ground game to speak of whatsoever. Okay, on the flip side, the Golden Gophers, they can run the ball, guys. They have a solid running back in Muhammad Ibrahim. My Hooked on Phonics books. Chris Ruffalo didn't send them out yet, guys. Sorry. And Muhammad Ibrahim, guys, the guy's a stud. He can run the ball. But Purdue has done extremely well this season, once again, against the run, guys. And I really don't feel either team is going to be putting up a ton of points here. I'm looking at a total score of maybe 40, high 40s, low 50s. So when we got a total of about 62 and a half, the under is 13.5 in the Boilermakers 13-5 in the Boilermakers last 18 on the road, and 7-3 in the Golden Gophers last 10 versus teams with a winning record. I like the under here, guys. You go under the total, you'll go over the rainbow, you'll make some money. I promise you that. This is not going to be a very high-scoring game. And you're looking at two teams that are not great teams, but they don't have to be top 10 teams for you to make money, guys. There's gold in them Nar Hills and those teams that ain't as popular. Take this game under. I'll redeem myself for Friday's loss.
All right, Domingo on Purdue, Minnesota, under a total of 63. Go over to Chris Ruffalo here with his Purdue, Minnesota team. Of course, Minnesota had some issues defensively, but this game is outdoors on a late November night in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. It's going to be miserable, and it's also going to be something that these two teams are also very familiar with. The problem with Minnesota, like Joe mentioned, is that Purdue been a solid team this season. On the other side, Purdue doesn't have much of a pass rush, and they're not very good against the run, like Mr. D'Amico said. And by the way, I've been reading those Hooked on Phonics books, so don't worry, I'll give you a tutoring lesson after the fact. You can get it straight from me. You don't have to read the books. I give you the Coles notes.
There you go. I'll take it.
But Minnesota, I think they are going to run the ball. I think a lot of clock is going to be chewed up here. when I ran these numbers, I kept getting something in the area of 28-24, 27-23. 63 for this kind of game, this physical, hard-hitting style, is way too high. This is just a mountain that's not going to be, climbed anytime soon by these two teams. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't hit 50, to be honest with you. I think this is just way overshot. So I'm with Joe. I like the under as well.
All right, another vote there on the under here on Joe D'Amico's play for Friday at Purdue, Minnesota, under a total of 63 points. All right, Joe, hit the bottom of the hour. Why don't you let everybody know what you got going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Well, Tony, Joe D's going to do it again. I am on fire. Combined college and pro football, 16-5 documented run. Tonight, I've got one winner on the Pig Dog site. My Wild Wednesday winner, $25. $25. You can't get lunch for $25, but you get a big winner from Joe D'Amico on Wednesday night. Guys, I already posted not one, but two huge college football Saturday games. Get in on them now. My early info move. They're one of the highest rated plays I put out all season. What are they, 3-0 this season already? I know they're undefeated. I believe they're 3-0. I get them out early because I take advantage of lines before they move because I know where they're going to move. Get my early info move. I also have, guys, my SEC game of the month. I own the SEC. Once again this Saturday, I prove it. But you can get on this game right now and ensure yourself a winning Saturday. And I've got to tell everybody out there, Tony, Chris, guys, 1 week away from college basketball as a multi-time college basketball handicapping champion and Las Vegas' biggest daily sports bettor. I'm going to tell you now, this will be my best college basketball season ever. Right now is the last few days that I will have my 50% off flash sale on the season. Instead of paying $750, which you're going to pay $750 a few days from now, you go to the site right now, Pick Dogs. You will pay $375. That comes to like $2.50 a day. Guys, you can't get a soda for $2.50 a day. And I will tell you this, for $2.50 a day, you will guarantee yourself the most successful and enjoyable college basketball campaign you've ever had, because this is going to be my best one ever. You follow me, and it'll be yours too.
That's right. Check out Joe D'Amico over at Pig Dogs Premium. When I take advantage of his long-term passes there, 7-day, 30-day pass, get all of his plays from the NFL, college football from Joe D'Amico. He'll get you in the pay window. All right, continue on here on the drive-through with Chris Ruffalo and Joe D'Amico. We're going to continue with our buddy Rod Zawacki. You'll hear him in the morning with the crew, Bitch and Crew. How's it going this evening, this afternoon, Rod?
Going good, Tony, going good.
All right. Good to hear. How's the MAC treating you this year?
Not too bad, not too bad. I can't complain about the MAC action, that's for sure. We've definitely won some good money off the MAC action.
All right, I know the NBA is we're talking NBA with the draft coming up, but there hasn't been a lot of talk here about the NHL. What's in store here? When are we going to see the puck drop?
I'm guessing we're not going to see the puck drop till next year. Sometime in January it would be my guess. Considering they canceled the Winter Classic on January 1st, so you figure my look is I think they'll be just after that. I think mid-January I think is when they're really looking at dropping the puck.
So we're looking at an August Stanley Cup final game because they're not dealing with the Summer Olympics like the NBA. That's why the NBA had to rush and get the season over by July 22nd, to where you don't have that issue there with the NHL. Maybe we get that extra month in August with the playoff action.
Well, exactly. We probably have to. We'll get some summer hockey going.
That would be fun. Chris, what do you got to add?
Well, there was also news today that the up here, which is big for us, the World Junior Hockey Tournament for the kids that are under 21, I believe. They're going ahead with it. It's looking good to be going ahead as scheduled in Edmonton. So I think that's a huge sign for hockey fans going forward. Is that this tournament? It's only a 10 or 11 day tournament. But that you can have an international tournament with these guys in a bubble sort of environment like we ran with the NHL this season, I think it's a huge step in the right direction for the NHL, seeing that, if a world tournament can happen, even just over a less than 2 week period, I think there's going to be a lot of hope and optimism that this can be a full season, that we're not going to have many stoppages, and especially for a league that had 0 positive tests over the 9 weeks that league was back under resumption. I think that's massive.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, Rod, you're going to be looking at some college football here for Friday, going to the Mountain West. There's New Mexico on the road facing Air Force. Air Force laying about a touchdown total 55.
Yeah, for me, in this game here, the biggest question mark in this game is if the Lobos quarterback is actually going to play Tuioti, if he's gonna start this game. Without him running the offense, this could get really ugly for the Lobos. We know Air Force is going to run the ball. That's what they do. That's their bread and butter is running the ball, and I think that's what they're going to do here. They're going to run the ball, control the clock. Their defense here, the Air Force defense, will definitely do enough to shut down the Lobos. And for me, get the Air Force to win. From what I've heard, I don't think the Lobos quarterback is going to play, which means you're going to have a rookie in there trying to run their offense, which just spells bad news. Take Air Force. I think that you can cover this up. I think they cover a 10-point number. Right now it's sitting at 7. It might move if word gets out that their quarterback's not going to play.
All right, that's a big move there. Air Force laying the 7 here against New Mexico. Well, Chris, New Mexico did show some ability throwing the football, but without the quarterback, maybe they'll resort back to their 19 ways.
Yeah, I mean, Rod's right with this one. I mean, the key here for either team and this line is going to be whether or not Tuioti can go for New Mexico. And, you want to talk about a Jekyll and Hyde team, throwing it back to Joe Duffy's segment. I mean, this Air Force team is as hard for me to sort of get a feel for as any team, I think, in college football the last year and a half. But, the thing with Air Force is that they haven't played in 3 weeks. There's a bit of a rust concern. But the thing is that New Mexico, while they've battled hard, like we just said, if they don't have your starting quarterback, that's an issue. And this New Mexico team just got uprooted from their home base and now had to move everything, all operations, all their coaching staff, all the team to Las Vegas because New Mexico still has restrictions where you can't have meetings of 5 or more people. So they haven't really been able to do much in terms of preparation except maybe watch game film. And this has been basically a limited practice week for the Lobos, who've had to uproot and relocate to Las Vegas for this game. So this is basically a travel week for 2 teams. You have an Air Force team that runs the ball, so there's maybe not a whole ton of preparation that you have to do for a passing game. But this is still an option offense that's run really well by Air Force. They still play some really solid defense, and the added wrinkle of Tuioti possibly not playing, I think that no matter how you slice it, this is at least an 8 to 10 point win for Air Force, if not more. So I'd lay the points as well.
All right, some agreement there with laying the Air Force in this one, laying the 7 from Rod Zaracki. All right, Rob, we've hit the pound at the bottom of the hour. Why don't you let everybody know what you got going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Backpack, and there is included is my bookie bucket. A big bet. I'm going to cash in big on that one. And I got another side in there and big total cash in big. Grab that triple Mac pack there. Going to be a big day again in the Mac.
That's right. Big day in the Mac from Rod Zaracki. Find him over at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not pick up one of those long-term passes? Get on board with Rod. That's at that 7-day. Get all of his football and NFL college football. And we're getting an opening night from college basketball. Huge card scheduled. And that South Dakota Classic looks good now that they've got Northern Iowa in there. I believe they replaced that Texas. I think they did. So that tournament is still going on for us beginning on Wednesday. A lot of TV games, so we'll get you covered there. All right, Rod, as always, great having your show. Have yourself a great night, and we'll talk with you tomorrow.
You have yourself a good one. And because the games all start late, we probably won't get to that.
All right, there you go. All right.
2-0 right there. Make it 2-0.
That's right. He'll make it happen
for
you.
All right. Money line, first half.
There you go. First half play there from Rod Zaracki. All right, we'll talk to him tomorrow. Our buddy Rod Z on the show. All right, continue on the drive-through. I want to touch this game because it was not a handicapper play for today. Northern Illinois at Ball State. We're seeing Ball State laying 14.5, Chris. Total sits about 60.5. Of course, the issue here has been the wind. We're seeing up to 13 miles per hour possibility of gusts there in this one, but Ball State's well over already a 2-touchdown favorite.
Yeah, and I think that this totals a little bit of an overreaction to maybe what we've seen in the first 2 games of the season. I know we say usually after 1 week you see overreactions and kind of react to that, but I mean even with a young Husky defense and a Ball State team that's been giving up points left and right, You know, and they've also scored 79 points this season. I still don't know if we get to 60. I mean, this just feels like a really, really big number. And would anybody really be surprised if this game finished like 34-20 or 34-23 or something of the like? Just because, you know, I think Northern Illinois is going to show up for this game. The first two games of the season were against Buffalo and Central Michigan, I believe. Two of the better teams, if not the best teams in the MAC this season. And, you know, Ball State, yeah, they beat Miami, Ohio, and then they had a bit of a cakewalk last week as well. So my initial lean here is towards the under. I do have a premium play on the side, but I think as far as the total goes, I think I would lean towards the under.
All right, lean there towards the under. Joe D'Amico, anything you're looking at the MAC tonight? There were three games scheduled.
I do have something in the MAC tonight. I have my Wild Wednesday winner on the Pick Dogs website right now for $25. I'll be honest, Tony. I thought the game that I put out was the best one on the board. I didn't touch the other few games. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought the one that I put out was my best opportunity to make myself and my followers money. I didn't touch the other two. I'm going to pass on those tonight. I know normally I like to chime in and always have some input on everything, but sometimes, guys, I don't even have an opinion on something, which there's no crime in that. You can't lose money that you don't put out there. And I got to tell you, there's sometimes that I think there are better bets on the board, and I go with one game, and that's what I did tonight.
All right, Joe D'Amico, Chris Ravillo joining me here on the drive-thru, guys. We're going to cover the other MAC game right now. Let's welcome to the show Ron Romanelli. You can find him over at the top of the leaderboards at Big Dogs Premium. Ron, how are things going today? And you keeping tabs on this NBA draft and seeing maybe James Wiseman going over to the Warriors?
Things are going good, and yeah, I'm very excited about the NBA draft today. Personally, I think James Wiseman is the number one talent in this draft. I'm excited to see where he goes, and I think if the Warriors do land him, it's a great pick for them.
Yeah, the Warriors, Chris, man, yeah, Wiseman, could you imagine that league? You know, Thompson coming back, you got Curry. I mean, that's they're going to come out on fire. You know, they're chomping at the bit. Are you looking for a fast start, Chris, from them because they hadn't played for some time?
To be honest, I'm expecting them to be the team that comes flying out of the gate, and you know, I don't think it's an unfair assumption to have that. I mean, you look at, you know, the criticism for the Warriors was that, well, why are they playing all their star players? They're 12-50 or whatever they were, and then, you know, they decide to put everyone to the side and then say, here, just sit out the rest of the season, basically, nurse yourself to 100%. And then, you get the other side of the court that says, well, wait a second, the rich are only going to get richer. You want these guys to sit out? Well, unfortunately, that's what happens when you have a bad season. Is you usually get a high draft pick regardless of who's on your roster. Just so happens that they lost Kevin Durant, had Stephen Curry out, had Klay Thompson out, and you only had really Draymond Green on that team going forward. So you give me a lineup with James Wiseman in the front court with Draymond Green, even whether he runs the 3 or the 4, Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. That should be a team that wins 20 of their first 25 games right off the bat, in my opinion, even regardless of the depth that you put around them.
You know, Joe, the lines maker is going to be interesting with the Warriors. You know they're going to be huge favorites. You'll probably be pulling against them every night. But one thing with the Warriors, they'll cover those big lines if they got a bench. If they don't have a bench, they won't be covering those lines.
Absolutely, and I do expect them to be, regardless of who they pick up or they don't pick up, I still expect them to be heavy favorites coming out of the gate. And to be honest with you, as I like to go against the grain, I mean, I'd probably be going against them the first few days going against the gate, going and coming out of the gate. But they're certainly a force to be reckoned with. And if they do get this prospect who is one of the top, if not the top prospect coming out of college basketball right now, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Chris made a point. They're going to win 20 of the first 25 games. They might even win more than that of the first 25 games. But sports fans, it's not how many games you win. It's how many you cover. Remember that. The odds makers know how good this team will be. They're going to take that into consideration. They're going to know that the fans and the general public are going to be betting them. Watch for those overinflated lines. This is a great team. There's no doubt about that. With a ton of talent, and they can certainly take the whole kit and caboodle. There's no doubt about that. But it's in our line of business, man. It's not who wins. It's who covers. And I'm going to be looking for them to be a little overvalued at the beginning of the season because I think the odds makers know that the general public, because of a lot of points we made right here, Chris, Ron, and yourself made, I think they're going to be overvalued a little bit, and I'm going to be looking to go against them just in the beginning, only because of the fact that everybody's going to be a little bit rusty and everybody's going to be, a little maybe overzealous coming out of the gate. But once again, it's about the point spread. It's not about who wins.
1 month and 4 days before opening night in the NBA. The draft is coming up, and of course the camps open up December 1st. And one of the teams we'll be looking at are the Warriors. And we'll have a lot of discussion with these Warriors, Ron. They're going to be favored maybe at 10, 12, and we're going to scratch our heads what to do with this game, because you know what's going to happen. They're going to be up 15 with 5 minutes left, and it's up to the bench, right?
Of course, it all comes down to the bench. It all comes down to garbage time, and I'm excited for this NBA season. See where it goes down.
Absolutely. All right, we got a game kicking off top of the hour. Your play, Toledo, Eastern Michigan. Toledo on the road, laying 6.5. Total sits at 62. Toledo pulled one out last week. How do they do here?
Well, I know this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but I didn't get in this position to make popular opinions all day, so I'm going to have to go against the Sharps in this one, and I'm going to take Toledo and lay the points on the road. Now, you look at Toledo, they're coming off one of the most heartbreaking losses you can even take as a team. 10-point lead with 3 minutes to go against Western Michigan. All of a sudden, you got a touchdown, onside kick recovery, a fake spike, touchdown, and Western Michigan runs away with the win. This Toledo team, let me tell you, is way too talented to start the season 1-2. Now, I know Eastern Michigan is very good against the spread in recent history. 2-0 against the spread this season. They're doing a decent job, but they are 0-2 overall for a reason. Look at Toledo's offense. 230 yards rushing per game, over 270 yards passing per game. Quarterback Eli Peters having a great season, 553 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He's a smart quarterback for Toledo. I think they're going to put up a lot of points in this game, and I think their defense is going to do enough to cover here. You know, you look at Toledo's defense last game, they gave up 21 points in 3 quarters. Didn't give up a single point in the first and third quarter. So their defense held up in spots, and I think it's going to do the same thing in this game as well. It's going to be, it's not going to be the easiest game, and no team in the MAC is going to be flawless on defense. But you don't really need to be flawless on defense in the MAC to catch a cover. And I think Toledo does enough on the road in this game to pick up the win and pick it up by 2 scores.
All right, Ron Romanelli says go ahead and take Toledo, lay the 6.5 in this one. Chris, what say you here with Eastern Michigan, a team in the past that has shown to be able to cover its dogs?
Yeah, Chris Creighton, 24-7 against the spread in his last 31 when catching points. So that's a hard number for me to go against. You look at what Ron mentioned with that loss with Toledo against Western Michigan. The cynic in me says, well, you know what? It's hard to come back from that kind of loss on such a quick turnaround, on a 1 week turnaround. If you gave them a bye week, I could maybe say, well, they've had an extra week to sort of let it digest, and they've been worked hard in practice. Maybe they've been worked hard in practice. That's why they come out firing and go against an Eastern Michigan team here that's, started out slow. And you look at the other side of the coin. Well, I mean, Eastern 0-2 against Ball State and Kent State, both on the road. But let's also look at the fact that Ball State, I kind of trashed them in our last game, but it still held 31 points, still snuck in the back door for a cover. Kent State, a team that just hung 62. In their last 2 games against, Akron and Bowling Green, but still impressive offensive numbers. They held them to 27 points. We're held to 23. I think that the look for me here for at least a free play, I'm going to look towards the under. I think this is just a game where we're going to see a lot of running the football, a lot of chewed up clock, There's not going to be very many chunk plays that are going to go down the field. I could see this one easily staying under 52, 53 points. Maybe some in the area of 30-23 or 27-24, 27-23, some of the like. So, I would take the under as a free play for this game.
All right, Chris, looking at the under. All right, Ron, as we approach the top of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, well, we're doing big things in Pig Dogs Premium on the leaderboard in the last 30 days and this year. Super excited for college basketball next week. I have my college basketball season pass on the website. You can grab that for $4.50. And just check back on the premium picks area every day. I usually have a pick on there for sale every single day. This Saturday, college football. I'm off 3 straight winning college football Saturdays, so that's always a good pickup to make. And just keep checking the website. Look for Ron Romanelli in the premium area at Pig Dogs and Sports Chat Place. That's
right. Check him out, Ron Romanelli over at Pig Dogs Premium, and pick up one of those long-term passes. You'll get in with a winner. All right. I want to ask you, Ron, I see sometimes on the morning show with Mitch, you just kind of pop in different days?
Yeah, well, Ann, she does a great job, but she's not able to make it on Saturdays, so I'm usually the fill-in on Saturday.
Oh, great. So that's what we need. Saturday, and he's cranking in college football. So, guys, so that's a must-watch, okay? A must-watch Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern time here on Pick Dogs and Sports Chat Place, YouTube, and social media. Get Ron Romanelli's takes on college football. All right, Ron, as always, great having your show. Have yourself a great night. We'll talk again next week.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
All right, everybody. Ron Romanelli here. Remember, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Saturdays for that big college football show with Mitch and company. All right, we'll continue on the drive-through. Going to turn it over here to Chris Ruffalo with his show pick. We're going to be looking at Syracuse and Louisville. That one at 7 Eastern time. That's going to be on ESPN with Louisville laying 18, total 56.5. Louisville's one of my disappointments this season. I expected a lot more from them. They're not producing. Syracuse, quarterback issues galore with that team. But how do you see it?
Well, leave it to me to pick a Power 5 conference game that's uglier than Justin Herbert's haircut. And if nobody knows what I'm talking about, go look at that on social media. That thing's a disgrace. Anyways, you look at this game. I mean, Syracuse has been terrible. They've lost Tommy DeVito for the season, their starting quarterback. And I'm just, this is, again, I just can't get over how you put this game in sort of a bright light spot on like a Friday night, and a lot of the public is on Syracuse here, but I think for good reason, because you look at the numbers. Yes, Syracuse giving up 31.1, scoring 18.3 against the Louisville team that's scoring 27.9, giving up almost 30. But the thing here for me is that Louisville going to be without Javian Hawkins, their top running back. They're most likely going to be without Tutu Atwell, and even if he plays, he's not going to be 100%. And Syracuse, as bad as they've been playing, as bad as a 1-7 record is, I still think that a 2-6 Louisville team missing two of their top players is not 18 points better than the Syracuse Orange. Do I think Louisville wins this game? Most likely. Do they win it by 18? Not a chance. I think this is Syracuse all day, and that's scary to say. That's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. I had to pinch myself right now. But, I think that this is just way too many points. This is a 10-point game, I think, at best. You could probably put this line down to about, I'd say at least 14.5. Get yourself some nice plus money out of it, because there's no way that Louisville pulls out this kind of crush, and not the way that they've been playing this season. They've been giving up yards left and right. I could easily see this one turning into a track meet.
All right, track meet says Chris Ruffalo over at Pig Dogs Premium. He says take Syracuse plus the 18. All right, Chris, we're getting close to the top of the hour. 10 minutes away. Kickoffs from 3 games. What do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Guys, you know what? It's Wednesday. We still got that Maction on the board. It's my whale bet Wednesday night. 3 of my top max unit plays. These are 3 plays that I absolutely love. You guys always hear me get salesy in the morning. I apparently look like I'm high, stoned off my butt early in the morning. But I'm telling you right now, I'm amped for these plays tonight. They're going off in about less than 10 minutes. I plan on sweeping the board tonight, 3-0. These are some of the best plays I have of the week. And with us losing a bunch of games here and there, there's not going to be many chances for you to profit like these picks are going to profit for you tonight. So go pick up that package, $29.95 over at the website. You got about 5-6 minutes to do it. Don't miss out on these plays, or, like we keep saying, hop on one of these 3-day, 7-day, 30-day packages, because starting tomorrow, we're going to start looking at college football for the weekend. 3 days will get you my plays for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to have everything in there. 7 days will get you all the way up till next week and the opening day of college basketball. I'm going to start having my college basketball season passes and NBA season passes on there as well. I'm from the number 3 NBA handicapper in the bubble last season. You guys don't want to miss out on any of that. You're going to put some winners in your pocket, especially with the holidays around the corner. You guys might need it. Don't miss out on that.
That's right. Don't miss out on it right now. Chris Ruffalo over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up one of those long-term passes. Get in with the winner right now at the site. Right there. You see it right there, guys. All right. Here on the drive-thru, we continue on the show with Joe D'Amico, Chris Ruffalo. And now we're going to bring in our buddy Al Ninos. You'll find him at Pig Dogs Premium. Al, how you doing today? And, of course, the NBA draft. And I know you're a Laker fan, but you got to be a little nervous about these Warriors with the number 2 pick.
Hey, I've always said every time we bring this new season up, I always mention it's going to be a tougher one for For my Lakers, I know a few people saying that that was LeBron's toughest title in the bubble, but I have to strongly disagree with that. I think that was one of the easiest titles the Lakers will ever win. But yeah, so I was hoping for some good things. Obviously, a lot of teams are hoping to improve today, but they got some pretty good picks actually to choose from, and should be interesting to see where they all fall.
All right, so you see where they fall here. Al, you're going to be looking at some European soccer, La Liga. On Friday, there's a matchup you're looking at.
Yeah, this is not the prettiest Liga match. I'm wearing my Greek jersey today. They just didn't make it to the Nations League playoffs. They drew to Slovenia. They need to win there to make it to the playoffs. But, at least they didn't get relegated to League B like Huesca, who's already, just 9 games into the season, looks in trouble of being relegated back into the Spanish second division. This is a team that's been going back and forth between the first and second division. They're still winless through the first 9 games of the season with 6 draws and 3 losses. They've been managing their draws against the weaker teams, but getting completely destroyed by the better ones. Osasuna is dealing with some injuries here, but I still think they're good enough to get the job done. We're getting some decent plus money, and looks like some money may be coming in on the draw here with the injury news. But I think that just gives us more value with this play. I see the line going up to plus 137 now. You can take a minus a quarter of a goal here by splitting your bet between the money line and draw no bet or pick 'em. To get some insurance on half your bet if you're worried about those injuries. And you'll be laying about minus 110 for that insurance. But I wouldn't lay too much more than minus 120 for it. And anyways, whether you want to go for the plus money or the safer play, I definitely think Osasuna's the play here.
All right, Osasuna, the play here from El Nino, it's at plus 130. La Liga for Friday. That's not Liga MX, it's La Liga, the Spanish league. All right, let's go ahead and let's ask our man here, Chris Ruffalo. I know you look at La Liga. What's your thoughts on this one?
I think that I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with Al Ninos on this one. That the reason that the money came in on the draw on this one is because a lot of it's probably mine. Because I look at this Huesca team. Yes, they're 0-6-3 this season, 6 draws, and I think that's the only reason why that they're as low as they are. It's just because they're not getting 3 points every time they take the field. I mean, 6 draws, but you look at what they've done on the road this season. They've lost their last 2 games to Real Madrid and Real Sociedad, 2 teams that are in the top 4. So those were games that they were probably going to lose the whole way. On the road, they've also drawn against Elche, Valencia, and Villarreal, teams that are 11th, 9th, and 2nd in La Liga. So they're playing up to the better teams away from home. And you look at what Osasuna's done at home. Yeah, they've split 4 games, 2 wins, 2 losses. But one of their losses came against the Levante team, where that's their only win this season in 8 games. So Osasuna at home, to me, is far from a sure thing. I think that this is going to be a game where you're going to see just maybe it could be a total slot fest. I do have the money on the draw here at plus 210. I could easily see a scoreless draw here where the ball gets just hoofed around the midfield for 90 minutes and neither side really takes a point, and just another point, another draw in Huesca's pocket. But I think 9 games into the season, there is a little bit of hope for Huesca to get out of the relegation zone, but I just can't buy into Osasuna with those kinds of results early on. So I'm on the draw here.
All right, on the draw. Al, you have anything to counter there?
Yeah, I don't know if he said their only win. I see that they got 3 wins this season so far. I'm not sure if I heard that right. Again, they are dealing with some injuries. I can't. Sorry, what?
I was going to say Levante's only win.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay, that's where I misunderstood that. But yeah, again, I can't blame him for taking a shot on the draw again with those injuries. But yeah, I still like Osasuna.
He's still on Osasuna on his play. All right, Al, as we approach the top of the hour, what do you got going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I got 2 college football plays, just the one that's up for sale though individually, and that would be my favorite one of the 2, obviously. But yeah, if you want to check that one out or hop on one of the other passes to get all my plays. You could get both plays and my Thursday night football play as well. That's already up as well.
All right. Check it out. Nino is a plus over 350 units past 7 days documented over at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not pick up one of those long-term passes? He has a 7 or a 30-day pass. Get all of his plays for that period of time. NFL, college football, as well as Premier Soccer leagues, European soccer, and of course college basketball when it starts here in just about a week from today. We get started with college basketball on next Wednesday. All right, Al, as always, great having your show. Have yourself a great night, and we'll talk with you next week.
NBA right around the corner as well. Yep, I got one more show tomorrow before you get rid of me for the weekend.
That's right, one more. All right. Of course, Chris looks forward to that Friday with Goran. He certainly does. All right, have a good one.
I'm sure a lot of you do.
I look forward to every day equally. I look forward to it. Okay, don't make. That's like asking which one of my kids is my favorite.
He's just trying to get me to pick his play for my favorite on the recap. Oh, I don't think he got me on the recap today.
Oh, that's right. All right, that was El Nino. So we bid him goodbye until tomorrow. All right, we'll continue on here on the Drive Thru with Joe D'Amico and Chris Ruffalo. I'm Tony T. Now it's time here for my show pick. Let's go ahead and pull it up. We covered all the MAC games today, so I'm gonna be looking at the game tomorrow. We're gonna take Tulane at plus 6.5. Green Wave's covered 5 straight. This is a strong rushing attack behind a good offensive line. 225 yards a game, 5.3 yards per rush step, and they're stopping the run. And one thing I like with this Tulane team is they do a good job of putting pressure on the quarterback, and they get off the field on third down. So I look at red zone, I look at third down from defenses, and this team does it. Now Tulsa, they've not separated more than 4 points in home wins to SMU and East Carolina. You look at the passer games, Tulane averaging 448 yards, 35 points a game. Green Wave will generate enough points to stay within this number. I'm going to go ahead and take Tulane at plus the 6.5. What say you, Chris?
Yeah, I think you could honestly. I think a case could be made for either side here. I mean, Tulane 6-2 against the spread, covers in 5 straight. I think when you have those side by side, I think Tony. I think I'm with you on this one. I like Tulane in what could be another 3 or 4 point game for Tulsa. They played their fair share of close games, and I know we talked about it. I think I mentioned it before. Tulsa. This is still a team that plays fantastic defense. I mean, they only held a really good Oklahoma State team to 16 points. The only reason they didn't win that game was because they only scored 7. So I think Tulsa's still going to be a stand-up team. They're still going to be one of the better teams in the AAC this season. But I just see Tulane keeping this one close with that offense and that ground attack.
Looks that way. All right, continue on the drive-through, guys. Now it's time to recap the picks from today. All right, we'll get started here. Joe D'Amico started us off with Purdue, Minnesota, under total of 63. Rod Zawacki, Air Force, minus 7 against New Mexico. Ron Romanelli, Toledo, minus 6.5 against Eastern Michigan. Chris was on Syracuse, plus 18 against Louisville. Al, we went to La Liga for Friday. Osuna, money line, plus 130 against Huesca. Yours truly was on Tulane, plus the 6.5 against Tulsa. We'll start here with Chris. Other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
Well, Tony, I'll say this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bet what I call my Mount Rushmore parlay. I'm going to take the 3 of us and each of our picks, put $100 on it. I like Syracuse plus 18. I like Joe D's Purdue, Minnesota under 63, and I like your Tulane plus 6.5. So that's going to be my parlay. People were asking about it in the chat. That's going to be a parlay I'll give out.
That'll be the parlay here from Chris Ruffalo. Of course, they were asking for the parlay in the chat room. All right, Joe. Other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
Well, Tony, I love Chris's angle on that. I really do, but I'm gonna stay with you, Tony. I like that Tulane plus 6.5 to keep this game very, very close. If not to win this game outright, I think they could have bent Tulsa. I looked at this game. Actually, wrote this game up for a column that I wrote, just writing up a couple of teams that I feel could win outright on the money line. And Tulane was one of those teams. I think there was 7 games between Thursday and Saturday that I looked at that could win on the money line. I think Tulane brings great value here, plus the 6.5. I think they have what it takes to win this game outright, but certainly keep this game close. I think they match up well with Tulsa. I think Tulsa's the better days are behind them. I think the Green Wave rolls on, brother.
You're going to roll that wave of green in your pocket. So we're looking at Tulane here at +6.5. All right, that'll do it for another edition of our drive-thru, guys. Remember, we're back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time with picks from, we got a college football game. We have the NFL, Seattle, San Francisco, Seattle, Arizona, which is the Thursday night game, and a lot more to cover on the drive-thru. We'll also talk a little bit about the NBA draft. I'm sure there'll be some movers and shakers in the draft. There'll probably be some player movement as well. So there's always something to talk about the day after the NBA draft. So let's go ahead and bring on our cappers. We'll wave goodbye to everyone. Have a good night. And